Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to another video. This will be the last video in the What It Means to Be Muslim series. I'll tell you that everyone has their portion of da'wah, like the ulama say. All of us, the Prophet ﷺ told us to convey from me, even if it's one statement or one ayat. Um, and I think that because of the research that I've done and my experience that I share with you all already, I felt obligated to at least share what I know and the clear contrast between the West and its beliefs and what it actually means to be Muslim. So I said this is a summary of all of the principles, the classes, the Aqidah, classes on Aqidah, the classes on not even fiqh. This is foundational things. This is foundational things that every Muslim has to be upon. They're supposed to be. So I just wanted to say that before we close out. So these are going to be points 71 through 84, what it means to be Muslim. Alright, 71, to believe that mocking Islam, its people, and any of its religious places, worship, beliefs, etc. is disbelief. Unfortunately, you see during these times, all of the TikToks and the YouTube videos, the Muslims are making fun about people's fasting breath and somebody next to you in the prayer and all sorts of craziness that is being made fun of. I remember when my son was small, he's a jokester. It's just natural. He likes to joke a lot about everything. And because, of course, we talked about Islam a lot and I was teaching him when he was young, then he would start like just making jokes. I can't even remember what they were, but as soon as it started, I said, you can joke about anything, but not the religion. And that stuck, mashallah, that stuck with him. I think he was about 5 years old when we had that interaction. So that is something serious. Don't talk about the hijab. Don't talk about the masajid. Don't make it jest and play in any of those things at all. Religion is off limits. As you already know, that's opposite of the West. Religion is free game. God is free game. Jesus is free game. Or Isa alayhi salam. The religious men in the churches, those they're free game. It's all free game. Free range to make fun and mock. That takes you out of the fold of Islam, by the way. One of those things that action takes you out of the fold of Islam. 72. To believe that rejecting or denouncing anything from Islam is disbelief. You cannot take some parts of it and then say, oh, I don't agree with this part, or some things in Islam is not true, or it's not right, or I disagree with. That's kufr. You have to accept all of it. 73. Oh, actually, just as a side note, science actually uses that as a principle. If you indulge or you benefit from anything that science has helped bring into existence, then you have to accept the science, all of it, even the beliefs of science. And if you reject any of the beliefs of science that contradict religion, then you have to reject all of science, or you have rejected all of science. So Shaitan has tricked them and used religious principles as relates to science. You have to accept all of it, and you can't. And if you reject any of it, then you shouldn't participate in any of it. That's a false principle. It's dunya. But anyway, 73. To believe that all of the laws of Allah and His pre-decree are from Allah's infinite wisdom and are just and fair to mankind. Three of the biggest issues that face the Muslims today that is severely neglected and understudied is qadr. People don't try to sit and understand it. They don't try to learn it properly. Tawakkul, putting their trust in Allah. And rizq, when Allah holds back from rizq, when He gives someone an abundance more than others, all of that it all comes under Qadr, what Allah wills. People have a serious issue with that. They want predictability, and it affects their Hijrah as well. They want predictability when there's no such thing. There's no such thing as predictability. I want security. What does that mean? You're secure from what? Makes no sense. But again, they want security from death. They want security from financial loss. They want security from, violence or anything bad happening to them. How? You're in the world. You have no control. How does that make sense? But to the non-Muslim brain, that makes sense. And unfortunately, many of us have been affected by this way. And you have to break it in order for you to, thrive in a Muslim country. Don't depend on entities. Do not depend on entities. Don't depend on security. Don't depend on your money. Don't depend on husbands. Don't depend on governments. Don't depend on anything. Dependence is upon Allah. That's the only security you have. Tawakkul. That's it. And anything that happens to people is just. It is just, and it's from Allah's wisdom. It is 100% fair. 100% fair. You have to know that. People have a problem with what Allah decreed, whether that be death, whether that be oppression that happened. Allah is not pleased with oppression. But the person who was oppressed, there was a reason for that oppression. Like Sheikh Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, he said, don't seek revenge. Don't seek revenge from the person who harmed you. Rather, seek forgiveness from the one who unleashed that person upon you. That's what you got to look at. And that doesn't mean that if you're in an oppressive situation that you stay in an oppressive situation, because Allah doesn't like oppression. But at the same time, you should be reflecting and fixing yourself, because it's from our own hands why these things happen to us. Moving on. 74. To defend the religion of Islam against those who seek to destroy it, from those who disbelieve and from those who have deviated from the legislative path. We have enemies from the outside and within. The enemies on the outside are those disbelievers who try to defame Islam and spread disbelief and try to make Islam look like it is false. And those enemies from within are those deviated people who also fight against the religion, who seek to undermine it, to make it look like the Sunnah is false or that the people of the Sunnah are extreme. And it doesn't help if someone who was upon the Sunnah falls into extremism and harshness. It doesn't help. It doesn't help. Not saying that a person of the Sunnah can't have those characteristics of being extreme and harsh, which is incorrect. But deviant people will utilize any shortcomings that you have to try to make the Sunnah itself look like it is incorrect or it's false, or the path is false. 74. To defend the religion of Islam. Number 75. To have hatred for disbelief, disobedience, and corruption. 76. To hold on to Islam and Eman with your molar teeth until Allah takes your soul in that state. 77. To have patience, forbearance, perseverance, steadfastness, and good thoughts about Allah in times of good and when misfortunes befall you. Subhanallah, that is extremely important, and it ties into what I was saying about people having an issue with Qadr, accepting Qadr, what Allah decreed. You have to have good thoughts about Allah and know that He is in control of all matters, and that He does what He wills, and that He is the one that will do the questioning, and we don't question Him. We don't have the right to question Him. Allah says in the Quran, was translated to mean He is not the one who was questioned, rather they will be questioned. Allah does what He wills. That is so important to understand. Submission, that's what Islam is all about, submission. And any trials that happen to us is for us to return to Allah. That's what Allah wants. Okay? That's what trials are for. Get your attention, to test you. Who's going to be truthful to the religion and who's going to turn his back. 78. To ask and depend upon Allah alone for all of your needs. Prophet ﷺ said, إِذَا سَأَلْتَ فَاسْأَلِ اللَّهِ وَإِذَا اسْتَعَنْتَ فَاسْتَعِنْ بِاللَّهِ. If you ask Allah. If you seek help, then seek help from Allah. Straight and simple. 79. To be grateful and show gratitude to Allah for guidance and all of His blessings upon you, be they trials or favors. Because trials are blessings as well. It gets your attention. It returns you back to your Lord, or exposes the person for the fraudulent association to religion that they had. And the favors, of course, that's self-explanatory. And sometimes not all favors, like Sheikh Ibn Taymiyyah said, not all favors are blessings. Some people are given favors as a proof against them to show their ingratitude. When you go through trials, or when you are facing, for example, financial strife, it's the time to look at what Allah gave you in the past. Show gratitude, because in this time period, you're being watched. You're being watched, and it's being recorded. Were you truly grateful to Allah, or it's all good as long as you have what you want? And then as soon as you don't have what you want, you're questioning, you're down, you're angry, you're chasing after trying to get back whatever you had when you never had any control in the first place. No, return to Allah, ask, be thankful, give gratitude. That's what Allah wants, and that's what Allah loves, even when you're in times of hardship. 80. To know that whatever was going to befall you was not going to miss you, and whatever missed you was not going to befall you. Allahu Akbar. Also, that's a 40 hadith, Arba'in an-Nawawiyah, hadith number 21. Okay? Also, qadr. That's qadr again, the pre-decree. You gotta be content with it. Know that. 81. To worship Allah between hope for His mercy and fear of His punishment. We're not Christians where I'm saved, I don't have to, I'm good, we're going to heaven. We ask Allah for Jannah, and we seek refuge in Allah from Him, from the fire. Okay? And also, certainty takes a person out of the fold of Islam, and despair, complete despair of Allah's mercy, takes a person out of the fold of Islam as well. Learn the 10 nullifications of Islam. A good book is Qawl Mufid fi Adillat al-Tawheed by Sheikh Muhammad Abdul Wahab al-Wasabi al-Yemeni, rahimahullah. That's the sheikh that we went to visit and stayed with in Yemen. He covers so many of these points. 82. To believe that nothing happens in the earth or in the universe without Allah's permission. 83. To believe that Allah has knowledge of all things in existence, from what has happened, what is happening, what would have happened, and what will happen. And that relates to His actions as in the actions of His creation. Okay? And those are 4 principles of qadr. Those are the 4 principles of qadr. 84. To believe that Allah has created everything that exists and is ever creating. So for those professors who like to, cause doubts for the people who believe in what they call the creation story, mocking at people who believe in Adam and Eve and the creation, that Allah created Adam and Eve, and that we all came from them, or they try to infect us with evolution, in their concept of evolution, that we came from one species, we transformed from one species into another, it's insane. Allah did not just create at one time period. Allah is always creating, and He's always going to be creating. He creates things that we know and things that we don't know, things that we see and things that we don't see. It wasn't a one-time thing or a time period thing. It wasn't. It's always happening. Why are they always finding new creations, new species in the earth? It's because Allah is always bringing something else about. And the proof is we're always having children. Who brings them about? Allah does. The animals that you eat, Allah brings them about. He's always creating. It doesn't just happen on his own. He's always creating something. Allah is Al-Khaliq and Al-Khallaq, the creator and the ever creating. Alright, so that's the end of my series. May Allah bless you all and increase us all in knowledge, and make it a means for us to worship him upon knowledge and clarity, and make it a means for him to be pleased with us and enter into Jannah by saying that which is pleasing to him and taking the time out to actually understand his religion in reality. وسبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. And don't forget that Hijrah man day sacrifice. I will see you all in the next video. Ma'a salama.